are you using technology? I would say yes. Is technology using you? And I've been a chief technology officer over quite some time and over many decades. So I have seen 2G, and I have recently launched 5G. And the reason I asked this question, are you using technology or is technology using you, is because with the advent of Gen AI, we have to be extremely cognizant about this fact. And I'd like to run through as we live in a multi-generational context. So here, what we see, today's time, in today's age, what's happening? A lot of stuff happens digitally, right? It is happening digitally. While a lot of stuff still happens physically, the time is equally getting divided now. And for us, it's important that the new generations which are coming, we talk Generation Alpha, we talk Generation Z, myself, Generation X, and my parents in the baby boomers or silent generation. If you look at all these generations, what we see is we have the same time. Where do we use our time? It's going to be very important. So I will start with myself. When I was growing up and entering the adulthood, which I'm very, very curious and intrigued about, for the newer generation which are just entering in, hence I took this project on. When you look how I spend my time, 3 decades ago, life was very different. There was no social media, there were no phones. So you can imagine that life was everything. When you read, you need a paper, you need to handwrite. There was no digitalization. We were doing hand typewriting. You can also imagine a world traveling was very different. It was a privilege to travel abroad. So you had to decide what to do. There were long travels. And the third thing is, because of this, there were less amounts of retry. So you had to choose a path and stick on a path and have faith. And that's how you'd progress. You do something, establish a family, establish a house, and move on. Now the generation we are living in is heavily connected. The world is heavily connected. So the Gen Z, who I've worked with now on this project, what the worry is, when should they settle down? When should they stop exploring? Because there are multiple choices. And that is their struggle. And what would be your struggle? If I may, the ones who are entering into adulthood, the choices are going from unlimited to limitless. So you'll have so many choices that you'll need to decide what would you like to spend your time on. And it is very clear that life, at least in my view, going from a set path to unlimited to limitless options means it's definitely not a straight line. There will be turns, there will be choices, there will be stop signs, there will be reverse. Sometimes you need to take a path, take a step back to go to a different path, or 5 steps ahead then. It all depends on you. So, if you would like to become an astronaut today, absolutely possible, because you can see the path all the way through Mars even. If you'd like to become a climate activist, absolutely. You can become actually a proponent for a sustainable future. If you want to become a YouTuber, absolutely. You can be a very big influencer for the world where we are heading into. But what we need to remember is, where do we spend our time? Because time once gone is gone. It's not going to return back, whether you talk about minute, whether you talk about day. So it is important to see, how do we navigate in this world where things are happening so fast, and with Gen AI, they're going to happen even faster. So what do we do in that case? I would say the first thing, we should adapt with the time as much as possible. Adaptability is key, especially when you're entering adulthood. It is very key, because as you adapt, you learn new things. And what does adaptation mean? Like Charles Darwin taught us, adaptability means you can survive in the new context. And what is the new context today? It's very clear that the new context would need curiosity. What's happening next? We'll need openness to change because the path might change. There's a new path opening up. AI is prevalent everywhere. How do we invoke natural intelligence with social and emotional intelligence? How do we bring empathy in? It is very important to select your friends in the right manner. As you enter adulthood, it is important how do you create your secure base. I can tell that there are things we need to unlearn, relearn, and learn again. This will go on in the life cycle, and now the pace is increasing very, very fast. So if I would like to leave a thought, while time is not linear, there is one currency which is constant, in spite of cryptocurrency advent, and that currency is time. Everyone gets 24 hours. No one gets more, whether you are of a generation alpha or the silent generation or the generation before that, everyone had 24 hours. So how do we split the time? How do we use the time? That is what I'd like to leave you with. It's important as you embark on this journey. Entering adulthood is not a tick mark. It is a journey. You have to embrace what comes with it. So first and foremost, define your core values. Go back to the family values and see what defines your core. Is it kindness, honesty, respect, integrity? Define yourself. Go and hone new skills. It is very important to hone new skills but not lose yourself because you have a core. Develop that core to a better person. And then have a physical, secure base. And I mean physical, not digital. Digital can be very personalized. You may feel very secure, but it is very traceable. You leave a lot of footprints on the way. And I would suggest that one should have a physical, secure base where you can find unconditional love, where you can find support for your core values, but where you also get challenged to stay the course. And this happens step by step. And last one, it's 24 hours. While tomorrow is there, today is here. So live in the present. Very important to note how much time are we really scrolling? And is that really beneficial? Is that going to help us in the future? It's very important, and no matter which generation now, everyone should think about it. And I'll leave you with this as well. I was recently in San Francisco, never seen driverless cars. I got my experience, but I didn't develop enough courage to step in one of them. And maybe that is a clear generation gap. X to alpha is a long distance. But I decided to visit the church in the city. We were very close to the church. It's called the Grace Cathedral. And I have never seen such a maze, so large, so huge. I wanted to get to the center to pray, and I wanted to come out without breaking a single line. Going in, easy. Going out, I was watching the time. I thought, and then I let it go. It was unknown how long it will take. I was trying to predict, couldn't predict, but it came out. That taught me, have patience. Things don't happen instantly. One should go deeper and make sure that we can live with the unknown. Future is not written, and maybe that's a good part, because at its core, adulthood is a journey. It's not a tick mark. Embrace it. Embrace the journey. And actually, when you grow up, you could coach the next generation of great adults. Embrace the journey. Thank you.